Hello and welcome to another episode of Orcusdorkus's RPG Shenanigans, and we are back with another tier list of the Dungeons & Dragons covers. My wonderful wife is here again. Say hello, wonderful wife.
Hi, wonderful wife.
And she has been most gracious to come back and do this again, and also due to popular demand. Got a lot of good feedback from the first episode of this, and everyone would like to see you do the Dungeon Master's Guide, and then after that doing the Monster Manual. And I really didn't see any negative feedback from that. I mean, nobody sending death threats or or anything like that. I should say nerd death threats. There were a couple people that said that it was interesting. They totally disagreed with some of your assessments, but that's as far as it went. So for those of you who are joining us for the first time, what this is my wife is an art teacher of, almost 20 years now?
Yeah, 20 years.
And decided to come and have her give an assessment of the covers of the various Dungeons & Dragons artwork, but from a perspective of someone who is not a nerd. So she has no affiliation with tabletop RPG games, culture, or anything whatsoever. So this comes from purely an artistic point of view of someone who is going to be assessing it on various degrees and isn't tainted by, how should we put it, nostalgia. Seeing these images for a lot of people who are in the tabletop RPG community, the reason why they love this artwork is it may not be the best, but it does stoke sense of nostalgia and fond memories, and therefore their perception might be different. So, without further ado, let's dive in. So this one's going to be a bit shorter. This is the Dungeon Master's Guide. There's not as many printings as this as there were of the Player's Handbook, so to speak. Player's Handbook, when we did that, we went over things from the original white box. We also went through the various box sets, the Mulvey Cook and Red Box and whatnot. But these are going to be shorter because there wasn't necessarily a Dungeon Master's Guide for the older editions. So this is going to be going through first edition, second printings of various editions, all the way to the new edition that's going to be coming out, 6th edition or 5.5 or 1 D&D or whatever you want to call it, but it's the next one that's coming. But I was going to be doing a video of another unboxing because this will probably be the last one before I head to Gen Con. But unfortunately, I found out that the author, for some reason, blocked me on the various socials. Can you believe that? I have no idea why they blocked me.
Wow.
Yeah, I know. It came as a shock. I picked up their book, and I was looking forward to doing a first impression of it. And I was just checking the other day, and it's like, you are blocked. And I'm not going to name any names, but it was kind of one of those things where I'm like, I don't really see the need to promote someone's book.
What book was it?
I'm not going to say. I'll tell you after the recording because I don't want to air any dirty laundry. But I will say it comes as a bit of a shock. And for those of you out there who use, I guess, block lists or whatnot, know that you may be potentially blocking someone who's going to review your book and for no reason. But until I find out what the reason is, I'm going to put their book on the shelf and move on to other things. So,
boycott.
Yes, boycott. It's the American way. All right. So, first one we're going to look at, let's move on over, is we're going to look at the Advanced Dungeons & Dragons Dungeon Master's Guide. This cover was done by Dave Sutherland. You've seen some of his work before from the last one, babe. He did some of the early box sets. I don't know if you remember kind of like the purplish, bluish cover that had the dragon facing forward, a red dragon, then there was like a knight and a wizard down in the bottom left and right. You do or do you don't?
I think so, yeah.
Okay, yeah. So he continues. He will be a cover artist for another one, which I can't wait for you to see, the Monster Manual. But this is another bit of his work, and let's dive in. So let's start off with, first off, what do you think of it?
First, I'd like to say that I'm really unimpressed with the codpiece.
It's strange that your gaze goes there.
Well, it is in the direct center. And I dare say focal point, if you look at all the lines, I'm drawing a blank.
What, the focal lines into it?
Yeah,
or?
the focal lines,
Yeah.
are kind of just arrowing right to the cod piece,
Right.
which is interesting. Because if you look, does this show up? Does your hand little thing?
Yeah, it
show
does.
up?
It's fine.
Okay, so first of all, it's right here in the middle. The lines are kind of they're visually drawing your eye right to this center right here. So I just find that interesting. And even these little squiggly flame electrode thingies are kind of it brings this to as a center of attention,
Right.
as a focal point. Now that may not have been the intention of the artist, but it is something that someone who's familiar with art criticism would notice. Also, the contrast of the area, so it is highlighted as well.
Right.
It's brighter. It's got like a dark background surrounding it, so it kind of stands out. It's like the very first thing I noticed.
Right.
And not because I'm a pervert, but it's a true story. It's like one of the first things I noticed.
Right.
I'm not overly impressed with the overall composition.
Right.
Because it's just kind of, he's like, where's he standing? There's no foundation. There's no place for him to stand. There's very little. Maybe this is a poor copy, but there's no foundation that he's standing on. So, or they, or whatever. It's just kind of, they're floating in space. That's something I would grade down on if I was critiquing artwork by a student. They shouldn't just be floating there. Another thing is this character, I take it, is the main antagonist of the game, or what?
Well, no. So yeah, again, here it shows as one who is not familiar with D&D. So it's not like, this is not like a boss figure, like, the ultimate evil within, what you would consider like the D&D universe. As someone who's not familiar with it. What it is what is called an Ifrit. You might be familiar with an Ifrit in regards to things like jinn and other Arabian Night type creatures. But in the D&D universe, this Ifrit is associated with fire and the elemental plane of fire. So what it is, it's a bad guy. It's a bad guy.
Just like talk to me like I'm a kindergartner. In regards to
yes. So this is a bad guy. So what it is you've got what looks to be a wizard, a warrior, and a woman who might be either considered a warrior or a thief.
So these other dudes and lady would be like the player characters.
Correct. Yeah, you're supposed to be taking the spot of the player characters, and you would be fighting something like this within the game. So it is evoking a sense of what D&D is, or what it was trying to represent at the time. But what it's not necessarily, and I guess in a sense, if you were the dungeon master, right, you would be playing that monster. As far as being a antagonist against the player characters. Now, if you like, there's a full image which shows the back cover.
Yeah.
And it
one thing I do want to point out too is where are his feet? I'm confused. There's no feet.
Well,
so if I'm going to critique this as an art piece, I'm going to say that's just weird. I mean, is he coming out of smoke? It's just really hard to tell if it's if he's like astro projecting or something. Is really bright for astro projecting, and it's only part of his body, and he's got like no torso whatsoever.
Right.
It's like shoulders and thighs. That's pretty much it.
Okay. My best guess is he's I guess apparently supposed to be stepping out of the shadows, but I can see your issue with that, where if that much of his body is revealed, what is this? Where are these shadows coming from down here?
Yeah.
So let me pull up the full image here. I forget which way it is, so bear with me as I flip through. There we go. Okay. So as you can see, this is
Is he coming out of like a genie bottle, or is he like smoke?
well,
or...
where they're supposed to be is what's called the City of Brass, which is a city in the elemental plane of fire. So everything is supposed to be fire related, brass related, gold related. Things are hot. Things are supposed to be, have a look and a sense of heat and hotness. Does it give that?
Yeah.
It does.
I mean,
Okay.
at least the bottom part. There are warm colors throughout, but there's mixed in cool colors. The upper part of the section,
Right.
where the buildings and I guess the town is, or whatever this is. Those are predominantly cool colors. So that's a little. If it's trying to be hot, it's not really given that for up here.
Okay.
One thing I want to point out too is is this like a demon-sized town, or like, because it seems like they're really small compared to these fence posts. I can see now sort of in the shadows where the ground is then.
Right.
So it makes more sense now that I can see the full image.
Okay.
But why are they so small compared to this like thing?
To be fair, there would be a variety of different creatures, so to speak, in there, but I think predominantly most of them would be larger than human size.
So he's like a giant devil.
Well, not a devil. You know.
He looks like a devil.
I know, and that's where the nerds are going to start shouting at me about this. So,
Well, come on here. It's a
know.
He is the quintessential devil.
right.
Let's just check him out. He's got everything. He's red skin.
Yeah.
He's got the devil horns. He's got the wicked nose and
Yeah.
the pointy ears
Yeah.
and all the things.
Right.
Devil.
Fair enough. And to be fair, the first time I saw this, that's what I thought too. And I think that's what a lot of people thought. So you wouldn't be, if imagine if you were seeing this cover for the first time. Right.
And he's got a little cut piece.
As devils are known to have, I guess.
I guess.
So overall, let's go ahead and you've given a bit of a critique in here. Now, mind you, this is in the beginning. This is in the heyday of D&D. This is coming out after the success of the original edition, and then a couple of basic sets came out, and this was Advanced Dungeons and Dragons, and this came out in the early '80s. So they were still, even though they had a lot of competent artists, the art still really wasn't.
Scale is interesting here. Because unless it's like the Kingdom of the Giants or something, the scale and how they represent space and depth is just totally contradictory.
Right. So, but I personally speaking, for me, this is not my favorite cover at all.
Okay, so you're with me on this.
But I don't know if I'm exactly where you are. Now, I do like the cityscape.
Yeah, I was gonna say that was probably the one feature I did like about it.
But
it's very phallic, though. I want to point that out.
He needs to compensate for what's not under the codpiece. The City of Brass is the raised 4x4 Ford of the plane of elemental evil.
Okay, I don't know what that means, but the artist, is he overcompensating or maybe?
So this is your tier list. So let's switch over to the other one.
So for right now, I'm gonna put him on C.
C.
Yeah.
I think that's where I would put it also.
Okay.
So, all right. So let's move on. All right. So we're going to then go on to the second printing of first edition. Okay. Here we are, and this is by Jeff Easley. And again, you've seen.
You sure you got that right?
I've got it. Yes, I did get stuff wrong. She saw the comments, everyone. But yeah, this is by Jeff Easley, and you will see Jeff Easley appear many times within this. But here you have the second edition cover. Now, if you want to critique the cover itself, then I'll go on to a better image.
Yeah, because it's asymmetric and it's totally making me uncomfortable.
Why is that?
Because it's not even.
So are you meaning because it's kind of leaning to the left a little bit?
Yeah, it's imbalanced. It's driving me kind of crazy. It's kind of, yeah.
Okay. Do you have anything to say?
It makes me angry.
Do you have anything to say? Because you were, and people agree with you, you're kind of critical of the placement of the verbiage and the font. Do you have anything to say about all of this that's on the
branding? It is way too big and it's taking up too much space.
Okay.
I mean, although some credit can be given for the shading out of the bottom,
Right.
sort of like you're kind of covering that up anyways.
Right.
But I'd still like lower the plate, like maybe make it a little smaller.
Okay, so it's not covering up important imagery like some of the other ones are doing.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's find the actual better image. There we go. Okay.
Oh, that's better.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it does look like that maybe they had shaded out some of it for the cover.
It's still asymmetric though, which bothers me a great deal.
Okay, so this image though, this is kind of one of the most iconic images from D&D. Because, one of the things about the Dungeon Master's Guide is the Dungeon Master isn't necessarily a player. He's the one who, to kind of give you a general idea, like a referee is kind of a good example. He's the one that's running the world. He's responsible for all of the character interactions that the players deal with, monsters, and pretty much everything in there as far as adjudicating a lot of the rules. Now, for me, this one encapsulates that out of all of them, 100%. This one to me says, I'm the Dungeon Master. I am here in the center. Welcome to my world. I hold the key to everything that is behind me. Now, technically, it's not a world.
So that's the Dungeon Master. That's not the player.
No, that is the Dungeon Master. Yes.
Okay. I actually really like this image, other than it being asymmetric, which totally drives me crazy.
Okay.
So what that means is, he's not completely centered on the piece, and you don't always have to do that with an artwork, but the way he's framed out, between the doors, if you're gonna do something like this, you really have to make it even on both sides.
Okay.
I do appreciate the movement and the details, the intricacies of the design features in the doors.
Right.
I really like the background imagery of the creatures and the sunlight or star or fire or whatever's coming in on the one side. And I really enjoy the movement of the smoke down below, or flame from the dragon. Is that what I'm guessing, or what is that?
It could be anything. It's just
or ghost, or is that a face? It kind of looks like a fate, like a skeleton or something, and then above him, kind of looks like it looks like a dragon eye or something right there.
It's supposed to be essentially a mix of
just monsters. Like an orgy of monsters. Okay,
right. So because you're coming into the dungeon, your goal in original Dungeons and Dragons, or I should say AD&D, was to fight these monsters and get their treasure, which is what the light is shining on. So you are.
This would be a pretty cool thing to like carve or paint on a big piece of canvas. I actually really dig this piece. I like the composition a lot.
Excellent.
Subject matter. I put this on A.
Okay.
A category.
A.
Yeah.
Perfect. So it's not S tier, but it's A.
Yeah.
Got it. Okay. Yeah. Excellent. You're going to make a lot of people happy with this one.
Okay. But other than the asymmetry, it's
asymmetry. Yeah.
That one.
All right. So in the 90s, second edition came out. Now, this is the same artist. So quite a bit of time has gone by since he painted that one and this one. And again, this is another famous cover that a lot of people enjoyed for a variety of reasons.
Don't bias me. I don't want to know what other people think. I just want to be able to give my spiel.
Sure,
if you want my honest opinion.
Give your spiel. Give your spiel. I won't.
I don't want to be influenced. So I hate the font size.
Okay.
That's my first problem with this. I actually don't really have a lot of problems with this cover. I actually really like it, but the problem is the font, the branding, the font, the little notes or whatever.
Right.
It's a really, really quality piece of artwork. I think it's well balanced. It's got action. There's a lot of really cool features as far as the just the movement, the line work over here is really, really good. The color, it has analogous colors working together. Just the blending of the colors, the bubbles over here are really cool. The framing, using the dragon's wings. I just really like the composition.
Right.
It's the line work, the details, everything's really, really good. I enjoy this.
Right.
Other than the
Right. The layout of the font.
Yeah, the font.
And the everything else.
Yeah, this is really cool.
Right.
I really like the details a lot.
Right.
Yeah.
Now I'm you may or may not be aware, but I'm sure you are. But when the cover artists paint this, they have no say on the placement of the font usually. And all that, so.
I know. But okay, so TSR Inc.
Yes.
They need to be told that it's getting in the way of this fabulous artwork.
Right. I will tell them there are no more. TSR is defunct. They're, Dungeons and Dragons is now owned by Wizards of the Coast. But what you're seeing here is probably easily at his peak. He at this moment in time, he is not only producing covers, but artwork for other images, covers for various magazines. This is, the peak of a lot of his skill.
Yeah.
And
he shows a lot of skill in this and a lot of knowledge about how art elements need to be arranged in a painting.
Yes.
He's got unity. He's got this color down here. It gives it balance. It's the same up here. This color is over
shit.
here. What did I do?
Nothing. I forgot to change it. So anyways, well, you guys can imagine. You follow along with your cover at this point in time.
So the same as the last video.
It's going to happen because I'm paying attention to my lovely wife, not the computer. So, but anyways, go rewind it, grab your cover or grab a copy of this image and follow along with her. But anyways, carry on.
What I was showing is that it shows a lot of unity, movement, the line work over on this side, the color combinations that are blending together, the framing with the wings of what's going on right here. It's asymmetric, but it's also balanced because that's what you want to do. If you're going to have an asymmetric artwork, you want to balance it out because you have he placed these bubbles here, which may not make sense in the context or the subject matter because kind of like fiery. I don't know, but it's
magic.
Okay, magic.
Yeah.
If magic had a color. Okay. So bubbles over here, swirly whirlies down here with this angelic figure guy. Oh, that's a wizard.
That's a wizard.
Okay,
yes.
I'm blind. I thought it was like an angel with hair, great hair.
Yeah, zoom in.
Okay, yeah. This is really cool. I like the flowing details and the hair that's going up here. That's really cool. And it looks like there's some sort of crown feature up here. I don't know, or is that his hair?
It could be his cloak, but yes,
this looks like his hair.
Yeah.
Or no, he's bald, right?
Yeah, he's got a skull cap on, so it could be like a collar, of his cloak.
Oh, okay.
So but yes, you're right. It's kind of morphing and
and that's his hand up there. I didn't realize
morphing and transmuting into the magic that he's casting.
It makes it even more special. It really, and it has so much movement with the light. These sparks that are all over the electro thingies going over here.
Right.
That's my technical term for electro thingies.
Of course.
Anyways,
almost 20 years of art.
Yeah. I like thingy is like my favorite technical word.
Yes.
But very well balanced, even though asymmetrical. A lot of movement. The line work is really great in the details. It's a beautiful piece, I think.
Yes.
It's probably, I'm going to put this on the S category.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So let's move over and be sure to switch back after I do it. So S tier. And I would agree with you. This is my favorite cover of them all. So, all right. Let's move back. Okay. So now we are moving into your favorite edition. We've got 3rd edition. If you remember these covers...
D.
We're not even going to just critique them.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, just D.
They're all the same.
Right. Boom and boom.
Sorry for you fan boys and girls out there.
Nobody likes 3rd edition. I mean, I would say some people kind of like them, but nobody likes them for their art. Yeah. Okay, so let's move on to the 4th edition cover. Okay. Sorry, I didn't sort these this time. But let's see, where is it? There we go. Okay, so this is by Wayne Reynolds. He did pretty much all the covers for 4th edition. So again, Dungeon Master's Guide. This is for the person running the game. And, one of the things that I talk about in the covers is, does it evoke a sense of what it's supposed to be? Does this provide you a sense of, hey, this is, if I removed the title, would you say, hey, this is probably the artwork for the Dungeon Master's Guide?
I don't know. It's kind of cartoony for me.
Okay.
My favorite, believe it or not, maybe this is dumb, but my favorite feature of the whole image is that the dragon's ears have piercings in them.
Oh, okay. Good catch.
But I get the concept. Like, he's looking at it's like kind of a reverse sort of position, the dragon being the player, and he's fighting the monsters in the globe sort of thing, because he's I don't know, that's how I would see it, as instead of the player being in the sphere.
Well,
does that make sense?
It does.
I don't know if I'm coming off right.
No, but I'll point something out to you.
I don't like the banners.
Oh, okay, because that's how all 4th edition looks.
Okay, well, I don't like them.
Okay, so if you remember, do you remember the one of the earlier edition box set covers that we looked like, where there was an image of a warrior and a wizard fighting a dragon coming out of a lake, and then the second one had a wizard looking into like a scrying thing, and it was the image of what was going on from the previous cover. This is the cover that you looked at for 4th edition on the first video. I know it's been a long time. And the dragon is looking at a crystal ball. So it's evoking that same sensibility from those covers. But
is this dragon sentient?
Yes. Dragons within Dungeons & Dragons are extremely smart and sentient.
So you can like bust out a conversation, share a beer with them and stuff?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Okay. Yeah. So it's playing on, the nostalgia aspect of those covers. But as you can see, the details within the globe aren't as detailed if I brought up the old cover. Whereas the artistry of the other ones pretty much captured that, but it wasn't a copy and paste, because there was no copy and paste in the 70s.
But it's kind of like trying to rejuvenate an old idea.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But maybe doesn't do it as well. Anything else you'd like to say about this one?
I don't really have a problem with it. It's a little heavy on the right side, I think. So it's not balanced, in my opinion.
Okay.
So that would be my art criticism of it.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Oh.
I it's not bad. That would probably be really the only technical detail. It's a little cartoony, like I said. But
all of them kind of are.
I don't really think that the one in the S category that we just put is very cartoony. I think of that as kind of classic fantasy. Yeah, maybe? I don't really think of it as cartoony as much.
All right, so where would you put this one?
I put that in B.
Okay, interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting. And need I remind you, before the emails start piling in, that these are based on artistic prowess, not if they're nostalgic. I'd
say just artistic elements.
Artistic elements. Yeah. Okay. All right. So
composition.
5th edition. Here we go. All right. So this is the 5th edition Dungeon Master's Guide, and what you have here is you may not be familiar with the term, but you have what's called a lich. Which is kind of like an undead wizard, just, kind of give you a basic idea of what it is. And it looks like he's raising this person up from the dead, maybe.
Interesting.
Or he's sapping his life force. But yeah, this particular image was done by one Tyler Jacobson. So what do you have to say about this?
Computer generated, not AI.
Right.
I'm talking about it's noticeably use computer to generate the image.
Yeah, it's painted on a tablet, so to speak.
The one that I put in the S category legit looks like a painting on a canvas.
Yeah, when you zoom in on it, you could see the canvas on it.
And maybe it's, sometimes some people are so good you can't tell. Digital artists, some people are just that good. You just can't tell. But to me, it looked like actual paint, like on a canvas. But not to downplay the artistic merits of digital art.
Still has the skill.
But I do, yeah, there's a different skill set for sure. I I like the technical, I guess, details of the actual drawing. The skeleton dude guy. It's even composition, everything. The contrast of it is very low, though. So I have a hard time if you were to squint your eyes and look at this, you don't really see a lot of contrast in the values, in the the tones and the shades and the tints and everything. So you squint your eyes, and the biggest value jump is between the guy that's being raised from the dead, his hair, and the blue magic, and that's your biggest contrast.
Right.
But everything else is pretty much the same value, and I think it washes it out a lot. And maybe that was the intent of the artist, but it just doesn't, I don't think, really pop out and have as much interest as something that has a lot more variation in the values tones.
Okay, so you've hit on a couple things, because a lot of people's major complaints with the 5th edition covers and some of the artwork therein is what you described as. What you described as contrast variations. A lot of people's complaints, they say a lot of the artwork is very muddied.
Yeah, it's muted. Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So. And you will hear these complaints again and again and again as the artwork continues through 5th edition. So, so there you go, people. For those who do complain about it being muddied, and people,
it's called low contrast or low contrast value. Yeah.
Right. But when people say, "Well, what are you, an artist?" Well, here we are. We have an art teacher who agrees with you. Okay, so where would you put this one?
I put it down with a C on the C category.
Okay. Whoops. There we go. All right. So we're going to go to a variant of this cover. So this is a collector's edition cover. Let's move back to, where was it? Oops, too far. Okay, here we go. So this is for 5th edition. A lot of them had these variant covers. This is done by, he goes by the name of Hydro 74. And what he usually does is he takes an element of the original cover and makes this piece from it. So
there's a similar one to the last ones I looked at.
Correct.
I actually don't mind this. I like it better than the last one I saw. Maybe it's because of the color combinations they chose, but the design's pretty interesting. I like it. It's a different style of art. It's hard to compare and contrast this with the other types that you have. I think if I were going to compare it with anything, it would be more like the books, because it's more of they're more designed. They're not really, they're more of a graphic design composition than like a scene, like a imagery.
Right. Yeah. Now, this one thing that you're going to be missing from the image is these covers had they were usually textured.
Yeah, they tell a story. You're in there with the characters. This one is more branding.
Oh, no, I meant this cover right here. So like where the etchings and the outlines, this, depending on it, would be like a fake kind of gold leaf type thing. The cover would be textured, so to speak, in various degrees. And and have grooves and valleys, or whatever the term is. So you can actually feel the imagery if you pushed your hand across the cover, similar to if it was like a cutout.
Implied texture,
right? Yeah. So all right. So
does it have an embossed cover? Is it embossed?
You can slightly. It's been so long since I've seen this one, but they do have various degrees of embossment on them. So. All right. Well, where would you put this one then?
I kind of like it. I'd say it's like a B.
B. Okay. Yeah. There we are. Okay. So we are now down to the current edition that's coming out. All right. So this is the 6th edition, 5.5, D1 D&D, D&D 1, whatever they want to call it. They haven't decided yet. But these were just announced a couple months ago. And a lot of people had a lot of things to say, both positive and negative about it. And there's going to be certain elements in here that you're not familiar with, but I'll bring it up after you give your critique.
Okay, so there's a lot to look at right here.
Okay.
It's not really that. It's not terribly unified. It doesn't have a ton of color harmony in here, meaning that the same colors aren't sort of splattered throughout. They're just kind of put in there higgledy-piggledy.
Let me give you a bit of context. This is done by the same artist who did the 5th edition cover. The one that
I'm not keeping track of these editions.
That's fine. This was just this one right here. This one right here. So, let me move over to this one right here.
I was going to suggest that because even though there's some color contrast, there's not like value contrast, not a ton.
Okay.
So what the difference is between color, I think everybody knows what a color is.
Yes.
But a value is the lightness or darkness of a color, tint, tone, shade.
Right.
Like how light, dark it is.
Right.
It does have some brightness in the colors, but other than that, it's still very muted, the rest of it.
Yeah.
So, and maybe, like I said, maybe the artist is trying to bring emphasis to those light points as like a focal piece.
Right.
So he's bringing attention to the eyes and the skeletons and the magic above the one-horned lizard guy, alien man. And
his name's Venger.
With the bat wings and the dog in the background, the giant smoky dog, that guy with the skull nose. I don't know if that's what it looks like.
Where?
So the
Take
eyes.
the mouse.
This is what I'm seeing, and I know it's just like a front, but it does give the piece the feel that it's a nose.
Oh, okay. I see.
So here's the eyes down
Yes.
here, and then the head right here, cheekbones, and then the nose, snout thing.
Ew. Okay.
And then here's this and this.
Yeah.
And then, we got the lady here.
Yeah.
So those things I could see, like these things are like brought together pretty well. Like I can see that. And
Right.
it's so they have the artist kind of does a good job of making you aware of that. I think maybe it's just my perception of it.
Right.
But it doesn't really fit. Like it doesn't really fit here. This is like out of place. It seems like
Okay.
to me.
Yeah.
Like in the composition, it's like saying, okay, so we have this going on and this going on and this going on and this going on, and it's got these zombie people down here.
A lot. But not unified.
Right. I just don't. These guys all have the same. And this color is up here a little bit, but where's this color?
Right.
Where's this color? This is really standing out right here for me, and that kind of bugs me a little bit. So it's a heavy on the right because this is standing out.
Right.
When you do a composition, when you're trying to, follow the rules of artwork as it were,
right.
You want to try to bring this in other areas of the art piece.
Right,
so
exactly.
If you are going to have some continuity in your piece, you want to have maybe just, even if it's a little tiny splash over here somewhere, like in a little dot right here, or something to bring it a little bit more balance
right.
In the composition.
Both the flames, the magic, and everything that they're doing.
It's a lot,
they
to
provide,
comprehend.
They provide light, so shouldn't that light be reflected away from its source? And it's not. It's the light is just
it's not
static.
bouncing off. It may be a little tiny bit right here, but you should be able to see. There's a little bit right here, I guess, but
maybe
you should be able to see some more glowing from it. I guess I don't know.
It's like you said earlier. If you squint, all I'm seeing is a flame, lightning, and reddish purple. Whatever above it, and the image just fades into the background.
So the background is mostly muted,
right.
And then it has these contrasty pieces, but they're not super bright. I mean, they're intense colors, but they're not
bright,
like super bright.
Right.
Like they don't really stand out too much.
Okay.
And there's not a lot of really dark pieces. There's not like black in there, so it's mostly just this mid-range sort of gray.
Yeah. So I don't know if you probably didn't watch it, but these characters. So it's the 50th anniversary of Dungeons and Dragons since it's created in 1974, and guess who else was turned 50 this year? But these characters right here that are being portrayed were characters from the original Dungeons and Dragons cartoon from the 80s, and also the toys that I grew up with. So they're banking on a lot of nostalgia factors by putting these images on the cover. And again, 2 mixed reviews from...
I just want to know what happened to that guy's horn.
You know what? I don't know. I really don't remember. I haven't watched the cartoon, and I don't know if it was told since the 80s. So
It's right here. It fell off.
Right. Okay, so where are you going to put this one?
I'm kind of torn between A and B.
Okay.
It does have a very interesting like subject matter, but it's
So you like it better than the previous cover, that one right there?
Yeah, I do.
Okay.
So I'll say B.
Okay.
I'll say B.
All right. Okay, so last one. Where did I put the last one here?
I already know I like this one.
Okay, so this one is the alternative cover for the same edition. So like the previous one, there is, a collectible cover, which is this, and then the regular cover, which is the one you just looked at. So
Spider Fae Elf.
Pretty much it, yeah.
So I just like the line work in it. It's really mesmerizing. And I'm not talking about the border.
Okay.
Although
Oops.
I would like to see it a little bit more full screen. Maybe they have the border pushed out a little bit more. But I like it's got a whimsical vibe to it. It's got this flowing sort of swirly line with the hair. It's also muted, but it kind of feels like it belongs there, like it's supposed to be this way.
Right. You're in the den of, as you said, some sort of spider, fae, elfin creature, and there's some sort of light that's glowing from her or inside. But
and there is a range of values here, even though a lot of it is this mid-range gray. There is a range of values. So we got really light, and then we have really dark over here. And we have dark here, and we have some lighter areas up in here and stuff. So there is a range of value.
Okay.
There's just not a range of color, and that's okay. You can have like a limited color if you have a lot of other elements in it. It's really nicely balanced. I like the detail. Just the drawing itself is really interesting, and the subject matter is really interesting. So I'm going to put it on the S category. I really like it.
Excellent. And this one was done by Olena Richards, who did the other one, which had the, here we are.
And maybe that's just my personal opinion, but
where are you going to put it?
An S.
Okay.
I really liked it. Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, so it's definitely one of the better ones. The one that she did from the other one that we looked at, I don't know if you remember, was the kind of greenish dragon sitting down with everyone making tea, kind of in repose. And so, yes, I think she's going for a more whimsical aspect.
Yeah. I mean, there are elements about it that I don't like. And like I said, I already stated that I wish it was like open up a little bit more, like the borders were pushed out a little bit more. But that's more of a design element that the publishers probably just put on this. Like
it's hard to say. I mean, this is also digital artwork. This is, so there could be a full image of this with this, digitally modified for the cover. It's hard to say.
Is that a golf club?
That is probably a staff.
Okay.
But I mean, in D&D, it could be a golf club. Who knows? And to be perfectly honest, I have no idea what this creature is, to tell you the truth.
It looks like a creature that's out of one of my books that I read.
Oh,
so
one of those books?
Yeah.
Okay.
But it's a guy instead. It's a man spider.
A man spider. As opposed to a Spider-Man.
Exactly.
All right. Okay, so here we go. So we've got S tier, we've got second edition AD&D Dungeon Master's Guide, and 6th edition Dungeon Master's Guide alt cover. A tier, we have the second printing of AD&D first edition. B tier, we have 4th edition cover, alternative 5th edition cover, and 6th edition cover. C, we have first edition Dungeon Master's Guide, 5th edition cover. And D, where they rightfully belong, are the 3rd edition ones here and here. Now, when we get to the monster manuals, do you want me to just put the 3rd edition right in D before we start?
Probably, yeah.
Okay. So, well, there we go, everyone. If you have any comments or any critiques, please sure and drop a message. My wife enjoys, hearing about them and reading them.
I do read the comments.
Yes, but as always, be nice. This will be probably my last video before we head to Gen Con, but definitely keep an eye on my channel and also the Titterpigs channel. We're going to be dropping pictures, videos, and other shenanigans while we're there. And then, once we get back, we may do a breakdown of how our trip went. So, yes.
Did you have this on the big screen?
Yes. Well,
you showed it?
Kinda, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I just want to make sure because in the last video I saw that you were on that the scale ones.
I may go back and just edit it and pop it in.
Make sure.
Yeah, I may pop it in and just edit it. It won't take too much. So, anyways, thank you, sweetheart. I do appreciate you taking your time to do this, and
that'll be $350.
Here's my credit card. Again, thank you all for watching. I appreciate it, and I look forward to when we get to do the monster manual soon. That's going to be the big one. That's going to be the one that's going to be a bit more divisive, in my opinion. And you're going to have a lot of comments on a lot of the covers. So yes.
Cheers.
Yep. Everyone, thank you. Have a wonderful day, and we will be talking to you real soon.
Bye-bye now.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.